here, and today is all about my good friend Chip Saltsman. As you all probably know, I've known Chip now for, gosh, I guess since the early 90s, since 1994, I guess, when he first was helping Governor Sunquist back then. But a very, very good friend since then. From 1998 to 2000, of course, Chip was chairman of the Tennessee Republican Party. And I like to think that's kind of when things started rolling here in the state of Tennessee for us as Republicans all across the state of Tennessee. And through the 2000 election cycle, of course, we all like to say that if it hadn't been for Tennessee, Al Gore would have been president. We actually carried the state here in the state of Tennessee for George W. Bush, and Chip led the way through all that time, not only recruiting candidates and raising money and making sure that we held on to what we had in the state Senate at that time, but also helping us make some gains in the state House. And we did. That truly was what I like to call a trailblazer here in the state of Tennessee that helped us get started. Now, we want that obviously to go on to Washington, because I get calls literally, practically, or at least once a week, if not twice a week, from some news media across the state of Tennessee. Say, what in the world did you all do in Tennessee? And how in the world did you all buck the whole national trend of actually gaining 3 seats in the state Senate? I'll say that one more time. Gaining 3 seats in the state Senate to 1914. I'll say that one more time. 1914, and actually getting a majority in the state House. What happened? I've been interviewed by NPR, several others on that. Well, if you look back on that and where that started, where we really started setting our goals and making sure this happened, it was when Chip was chairman of the party. So I'm here today to endorse him, to hopefully he takes those same values on to be chairman of RNC and help the nation do what Tennessee did in the last election cycle. I also have a letter here from soon-to-be Speaker Mumpower, Representative Jason Mumpower, that I'd like to read at least part of this to you all on that before I introduce our next speaker. And once again, from Representative Jason Mumpower. Dear friends, I want to thank you for being here today to help me salute a true friend and ally as he begins his effort to rebuild a Republican Party on the national level. Just next month, we will swear in the first General Assembly in Tennessee since 1869 with a Republican majority in both houses. 10 years ago, not many people would have thought this accomplishment was possible. In 1998, when Chip Saltsman took over the Republican Party, the Democrats had a 59-40 majority in the state House and an 18-15 majority in the state Senate. However, our new party chairman was convinced that hard work and adherence to our conservative ideals would bring us to this point. Unwilling to settle for status quo or listen to naysayers, Chip had the vision and the initiative to turn our political landscape around and build a Republican Party that can govern with real solutions for the people of Tennessee. In 2000, Chip Saltsman understood that Tennessee would make a difference in electing George W. Bush to the presidency. So with a little help from the National Party, he developed a plan to raise $5.5 million to implement it and defeated Al Gore in his home state. Without Chip's leadership, the recount in Florida would have been no more than an asterisk in the history books of the Gore presidency. Just as importantly, Chip developed a plan to take on the Tennessee Democrat leadership. Over the past decade, his plan has become a reality. In 2004, we won a majority in the state Senate. After the 2006 election, we took over leadership in the Senate, and now in 2009, we'll have control over both houses of the General Assembly. All of this progress has been made possible because of Chip Saltsman's decisive chairmanship a decade ago. While the 2008 gains in Tennessee were a bright spot for Republicans, we have lost our way as a national party. We need Chip's young and energetic leadership to bring our party back. Did you write this? To its core principles of physical restraint and individual responsibility. Please join me today, Representative Jason Mumpower, in the support of Chip Saltsman for chairman of the RNC. He'll make Tennessee proud as he leads a national resurgency of our Republican Party. Signed, Representative Jason Mumpower, House Republican leader. So with that, we had both the state Senate and the state House endorsing Chip Saltsman to be chairman of RNC. At this time, I'll turn it over to the former majority leader of the U.S. Senate and a good friend of mine and a good friend of Chip's, Senator Bill Frist.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You know, it's a great pleasure for me to be here with our Lieutenant Governor and with the person who I believe is best suited to be the chairman of the Republican National Committee for the United States of America. And it is interesting, as the governor said, that people around the country are looking to Tennessee, and they say, what's in the water in Tennessee? And the quickest and most succinct answer that I give is Chip Saltsman. And I say that because if you look back, as it was just outlined, with really that driving in 1994 to the leadership of our party here, with following that coming to a side that most Tennesseans didn't see and working with me at the National Republican Senatorial Committee, where literally we traveled together and worked both politically in recruiting a group of candidates who ultimately went to the United States Senate, but also we raised more than has ever been raised in the history of the country from the National Republican or the Democratic leadership standpoint in the United States Senate, raising almost $130 million at that level. When we look at who best can take the Republican National Committee forward, we really do need to look back, and it will be done over the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks before the election. And people will be looking at things like vision. They'll be looking for things like strategy, and they'll be looking for things like character. And if you look over Chip's career, which is truly amazing given his age in terms of vision, in terms of strategy, in terms of that character, it has really been quite remarkable. He has led our party to new heights that in many ways culminated this year with what's happened in the state legislature, his leadership of the party, his leadership and vision at the national level, which when I was running the National Republican Senatorial Committee, nobody in the country thought that we could take back majority control of the United States Senate for the first time ever in the first term of a president of the same party, and we did it. If you look at strategy, Chip has been involved at every single level here in the state of Tennessee and again at the National Republican Senatorial Committee. And lastly is character. We want a leader today who is principled, who can govern, because it is a type of governance at the RNC, as well as lead with that principled leadership. And having known Chip since 1994, again traveling the state, county by county with him, having worked with him at the level of the state, having worked with him at the federal level, there is nobody that I know better suited to be the chair of the Republican National Committee as Chip Saltsman. It comes back to that character, and it comes back to great parents who have instilled great values in him, values that I've seen whether we're riding around in a car or whether we're talking about what we need to do in order to convince somebody to vote for us, or we actually ask people to invest in us as we together have helped to lead our party, be at the National Republican Senatorial Committee and him in the state. So with that, it's a great honor for me to be here today to join our new leadership in the state and the Lieutenant Governor in endorsing Chip Saltsman.